Tonight, close your eyes and listen. Somewhere in ancient Persia, there was a city where water never seemed to sleep. A city of ancient stone bridges, hidden channels, quiet waterfalls, and enormous watermills turning slowly beneath the moonlight. Tonight you will leave the modern world behind and travel gently into the ancient city of Shushtar. You will walk beside cool, flowing water. Feel the evening breeze beneath the palm trees. See warm lanterns reflected in ancient canals. And listen to the endless whisper of water moving through stone. There is nowhere you need to go. Nothing you need to do. You are simply here, walking slowly through a forgotten Persian world. If you enjoyed peaceful journeys through ancient Persia, please support Forgotten Hours by leaving a like, sharing your thoughts in the comments, and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us continue creating these quiet journeys through forgotten worlds. Now, take a slow breath. Let your shoulders relax. And listen closely. The water is already waiting for you. Your journey through ancient Shushtar begins tonight. Chapter 1. Arrival at the City of Water. Close your eyes. Breathe in slowly. And let everything around you grow still. You are leaving behind the weight of the day. The noise. The brightness. All of it. Dissolving now. Like mist rising from warm water in the cool of the evening. There is nothing you need to do. Nothing you need to remember. Nothing you need to plan. Nothing you need to become. You are simply here. Present. Breathing. And beginning a very gentle journey. Let your body soften. Whatever you are resting on. Feel it now beneath you. Feel the weight of your body giving itself to that surface. Your back. Your shoulders. Your legs. Your feet. All of it heavy. All of it releasing downward. Into the warmth. Into the stillness. Into rest. Breathe in. Hold it gently. And breathe out. Slowly. All the way out. Until your body is empty of air. And then, without effort, it breathes in again. Naturally. As it has always known how to do. As it will always know how to do. The world around you shifts. It does not shift suddenly or with any shock. It shifts the way sleep shifts behind your eyes when you are almost dreaming. Slow. Warm. Soft. One moment you are in the quiet, familiar darkness behind your eyelids. And then, something changes. The air becomes different. It carries something ancient. Something clean. Something that smells faintly of river water and warm stone and the far-off sweetness of date palms carried on a night wind from somewhere you have never been but somehow know. You breathe it in. And your body relaxes. Something in your chest that has been held tightly releases. Just slightly. Just enough. You are standing on a road. The road is wide and made of packed earth. Beneath your feet the ground is smooth and firm and just slightly warm from the day's sun that has not yet entirely released its gift of warmth. The warmth is gentle. It rises through the soles of your feet and moves up through your legs. Calming. Steadying. Like standing on solid ground that has always been here and always will be. Ground that does not ask anything of you. Ground that simply holds you. As it has always held everyone who has stood here. As it will hold you now. The sky above you is extraordinary. It is a deep, deep indigo. The color of ink dissolved in still water. Or the color of the sea when the sun has left it. Or the color of the inside of something very old and very quiet and very beautiful. And scattered across it. Like seeds scattered across dark soil by a patient hand. Are stars. So many stars. more than you have ever seen or remembered seeing. They do not twinkle nervously. They glow. Steadily. Quietly. As if each one has been burning for thousands of years and intends to burn for thousands more. As if they have no urgency. No anxiety. No need to be anything other than what they are. Just burning. Just being. Just glowing in the deep dark above you. You stand there and look up at them. And there is something in you. Some deep, quiet part of you that recognizes the sky. That has always recognized it. That feels at home beneath it. As if some ancient part of you remembers standing under a sky exactly like this. And breathing exactly like this. Slowly. Completely. At rest. You begin to walk. Not quickly. There is no need for speed here. There is nowhere you must be. Nothing you are late for. Nothing that cannot wait. You place one foot gently in front of the other. The road ahead of you slopes gently downward. The slope is easy. Barely perceptible. The kind of slope that carries you forward without any effort on your part. You simply walk. And the road helps. And the warm earth rises to meet each footstep. Soft and steady. And as you walk, you begin to hear it. Very faintly at first. So faint you wonder if you are imagining it. Or if it is the sound of your own breathing. Or the blood moving in your ears. A sound. Soft and continuous. A whispering. A rushing. A voice that belongs to something old and permanent. The sound of water. You walk a little further. And the sound grows. Not louder in a startling way. Louder the way music grows louder when you are walking toward its source. Gradually. Inevitably. With great gentleness. As if the sound has been waiting for you. As if it knew you would be coming. As if it has been patient all this time. And now it opens slowly. The way a flower opens. One layer at a time. Unhurried. Inevitable. The road curves to the right. A long, easy curve. You follow it. And then you pause. Because ahead of you, stretched across the night, lit by starlight and by the first faint glow of oil lamps burning on its edges like small amber sentinels, is a bridge. A very long bridge. Made of great pale limestone blocks fitted together with extraordinary care. Each block sits perfectly against the next. Without gap. Without shift. The precision of it is visible even in this light. The stone is the color of old honey in the lamplight. Warm. Almost golden. The kind of stone that has absorbed generations of sunlight and holds that warmth long after dark. The bridge stretches across a river. And the river below is moving. You can see the starlight reflected in it. Broken into 1,000 shifting pieces by the gentle current. The water catches the light and releases it. Catches it and releases it. Over and over. Like breathing. Like the breathing of something enormous and patient and deeply alive. You step onto the bridge. Your footsteps are very soft here. The limestone beneath you is smooth and cool. The coolness rises through the soles of your feet and is a pleasant contrast to the warm evening air. You walk slowly. One step. Then another. The bridge is wide enough for several people to walk abreast. But tonight you walk it alone. Just you. And the starlight. And the sound of the river below. You walk slowly to the center of the bridge. And you pause. You place your hands on the low stone railing at the edge. The stone is cool and slightly rough beneath your palms. Real. Solid. Ancient. It has been touched by thousands of hands over hundreds of years. And it is just a railing, just stone, just the steadiness of things that endure. You look down at the river. The river below is wide and moving with calm purpose. It is not turbulent. It is not wild. It moves the way all water moves when it knows where it is going and is in no hurry to get there. Steadily, smoothly, with a quiet, continuous voice. The sound it makes is extraordinary. It is not one sound. It is many. There is the low, gentle roar of the main current moving beneath you. That deep, broad sound that is more felt than heard. A resonance in the chest, in the bones. Something that reminds you of the sound of your own body from the inside. The thrumming aliveness of something in motion. There is the softer sound of water sliding against the stone pillars of the bridge. A liquid, whispering sound. The sound of water finding the shape of what it meets and moving around it. Patient. Continuous. There is the faint musical splashing where the water finds a shallow place and breaks over small stones. High notes. Brief and bright. Like the sound of small bells heard from very far away. And beneath all of it, there is a sound like breathing. A deep, slow, rhythmic breath that comes from the river itself. In, and out, and in, and out. As if the river is sleeping, or meditating, or simply being so completely that it has its own breath, its own rhythm, its own pulse. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. Just listen. Without analyzing. Without categorizing. Without doing anything at all with the sound except receiving it. Letting it come to you. Letting it move through you. And your own breathing begins to follow. In. And out. Slow. Even. Calm. Your shoulders lower. They were higher than you needed them to be. And now they lower. And the muscles between them soften. And your jaw unclenches. And the muscles along your neck release. The river breathes. And you breathe with it. Because this is how it has always worked. Being near water. Being near something that knows how to be. Teaches you to be. A warm breeze moves across the bridge. It comes from the south. From somewhere beyond the date palm groves you can see in the distance. Dark shapes swaying against the starlit sky. The fronds moving in long, slow arcs. The breeze carries the scent of the river. Cool and green and ancient. And beneath that, something sweeter. The far-off sweetness of those palms. Something warm and dusty and desert clean. The breeze moves across your face and through your hair. And it is one of the most pleasant sensations you can remember. Just air. Just evening air. Fresh and alive and carrying the river's quiet voice with it. Touching you gently and moving on. Not demanding. Not lingering. Just passing through. The way all good things pass through. Leaving you changed in some slight, pleasant way. You open your eyes. And you look up. And ahead of you, beyond the far end of the bridge, is the city. Shushtar. The city of water. It is not a loud city. Not a city of noise and urgent movement and the clamor of people in a hurry. It is a city of water. You can see it even from here. The warm glow of oil lamps burning along its streets and in its courtyards. 100 small flames. 1,000. Making the city glow from within like something lit from its own center. The soft amber light reflecting on the surface of canals that run through the city like veins carrying life through a living body. The dark shapes of rooftops and archways. The tall, graceful shapes of palm trees rising above the buildings. Silhouetted against the starlit sky. Still and swaying. And everywhere. The soft sound of flowing water. The city breathes through its water. And even from here, standing at the center of this ancient bridge, you can feel it. That breathing. That steady, patient, continuous presence. You continue walking. Your footsteps are quiet and steady on the smooth limestone. You cross the remainder of the bridge. And as you step off it onto the wide road that leads into the city, the sound of water becomes richer, more layered, more dimensional. Because now you can hear not just the river behind you, but the canals ahead of you. Multiple streams of running water, threading through the city, speaking in slightly different voices, each one distinct, each one beautiful. Together they make a kind of music. A music that was not composed by any single mind, that composed itself over centuries. As the water found its courses, as the people learned to guide it, as the city and the water learned to speak to each other. A conversation between stone and water, between human intention and natural flow, between what was built and what was given. The road ahead is lined with small oil lamps. They sit in niches carved into low stone walls on either side of the road. Each flame burns steadily in the calm evening air. Their light is warm and amber. It pools on the stone road beneath them in soft, golden circles. And as you walk between these pools of light, moving from one to the next, it feels like walking through a string of gentle moments. Each one complete, each one peaceful, each one letting you go into the next without effort, without having to do anything except walk. Walk and breathe, and let the lamps guide you. The road narrows slightly as you enter the city proper. The stone walls on either side are taller now. They are made of the same warm limestone as the bridge. But here in the city, the stone has been shaped and finished with greater care. The blocks are precisely cut. The surfaces are smooth under your hand when you trail your fingers along them as you walk. You can feel the slight warmth the stone still holds from the afternoon sun, fading now, slowly cooling in the evening air, but still present, still offering that gentle warmth, as if the stone, too, is trying to give you something, to make you welcome, to say you are here. This place is real. These walls have stood for a long time, and they will stand for a long time after. And right now, tonight, you are part of what they have always sheltered. You turn a gentle corner in the road, and there ahead of you, running across the path, is a canal. A small wooden bridge crosses it, just wide enough for two people to pass each other comfortably. The wood of the bridge is dark with age, smooth, worn by years of feet crossing it, worn the way all things are worn by steady use, shaped by the life that has moved over and through and around it. You walk to the bridge and stop at its center, and you look down into the canal. The water in the canal is moving, not quickly, but with steady, purposeful energy. It is perhaps knee-deep, clear enough that you can see the bottom. The bottom is smooth stone, pale limestone, still light enough to be visible even in this darkness. And across it, the water moves in gentle ripples and currents that catch the lamplight from the street above and fragment it into 1,000 shifting lines. The light dances on the bottom of the canal, thin and bright and constantly rearranging itself, like writing in a language made entirely of light, a language older than any human language, spoken only by water and light together, in the dark places below bridges, in the clear places where streams run over pale stones. Everywhere water moves, everywhere light follows. The sound the canal makes is lighter than the river, more intimate, more like a conversation. The river spoke in wide, slow sentences. This canal speaks in quick, quiet phrases. A murmuring. A gentle babbling. Something between speech and song. You stand on the little bridge and listen to it. And something in you that had been tightly wound, something you hadn't even noticed was wound tight, gently loosens, like a fist slowly opening, like a held breath finally released, like the last tension leaving a body that has decided it is safe to rest. A moth passes through the lamplight near you. Its wings are pale, almost white, dusted with a pattern you can barely see. It circles the flame once, twice, and then drifts away into the darkness beyond the light. You watch it go. It disappears into the dark as if it was never there. And then you look back down at the water, and the water is still there, moving, murmuring, patient, continuous. The moth was brief. The water is not. The water simply continues. You step off the little bridge and continue into the city. The streets here are quiet. It is late. The working hours of the day are long past. Most people are inside their homes now. Behind the smooth walls on either side of the street you can see the soft glow of lamps through high narrow windows. Sometimes you hear a low murmur of voices. The sound of a family gathered in the evening, talking quietly, at ease with each other, with the particular ease of people who have been together all day and are now winding down together. Someone laughing very softly. A brief, warm sound. A child's voice asking a question. An adult voice answering. Patient. Calm. Quiet. Peaceful. These are the sounds of a city at rest. Of people who have worked hard and now rest well. Who have been fed by this river today. As they will be fed by it tomorrow. As they have been fed by it all their lives. You walk slowly. There is no direction pulling you. No destination demanding you arrive. You simply walk and observe and let the city reveal itself to you gently. One street at a time. One sound at a time. One smell at a time. The smell of the city at night. Warm stone. The river, always the river, in the background of everything. The cooling air releasing the day's accumulated scents. A hint of smoke from cooking fires that burned earlier and are now banked. Something dried and sweet from a spice merchant's store. The dusty, green smell of date palms from somewhere above the walls. All of it layered. All of it gentle. A composite smell that is simply the smell of this city. This particular city. In this particular climate. On this particular night. Unrepeatable. And perfect. A cat appears from a shadow in the wall. It is a lean, pale cat. The color of limestone. Almost the color of the city itself. It stops and looks at you with calm, luminous eyes. Green eyes that catch the lamplight and hold it. You are still. It regards you for a long moment with great dignity. Completely unalarmed. Completely certain of its own position in this city. This cat has always lived here. In this city of water. And it knows every alley and every doorway and every place where a person might leave a scrap of bread or a piece of fish. It regards you the way a sovereign regards a visitor to a territory that is entirely its own. Then it turns and walks along the base of the wall in the opposite direction. Its paws make no sound at all on the smooth stone. You watch it disappear around a corner. And you smile. The street opens into a small courtyard. Not large. Not grand. Just a quiet square of open space surrounded by low stone buildings. Perhaps 4 buildings. Perhaps 5. Each with a face of smooth pale stone. Each with a high window or 2. And in the center of the courtyard there is a fountain. or something like a fountain. A basin of smooth stone, perhaps the width of outstretched arms. And into it, water flows from a small opening in the wall. A continuous, gentle stream. It falls perhaps the distance of your forearm into the still water below. And it makes a sound that fills the courtyard beautifully. A soft, high, musical splash. Continuous. Even. Like the sustain of a note struck on an instrument, and held forever without effort. A note that never fades. A note that has been playing here all evening. All day. All the days before that. Since the basin was made and the channel was opened and the water was invited to speak here. You go and sit on the low stone edge of the basin. The stone is cool beneath you. Not cold. Just cool. Just pleasantly different from the warm air. A contrast that makes you more aware of your own body. More present. You trail one hand in the water. It is cool too. Wonderfully cool. You can feel it moving gently against your fingers. The current is very slight here. Just enough to make the water feel alive. To distinguish it from standing water. From something still. This water has come from somewhere. Has traveled to reach this basin. And now it rests here briefly. Speaking its soft note. Filling this courtyard with its voice. And then moving on. Always moving on. You sit for a long time. Not thinking particularly. Just being. The sound of the water entering the basin is the only sound in the courtyard. And it is enough. More than enough. It fills the space perfectly. Like something that was designed to be here. Which, in its way, it was. This water was invited here. It was brought here through channels and through careful attention to the land. It was given this space. This purpose. This sound. And it accepts all of it. Gratefully. Continuously. The stars are very bright above the courtyard. The walls on three sides block the city and the horizon. So what you see is simply a square of dark sky filled with stars. A perfect frame for the night. One constellation burns brighter than the others near the top of your visible sky. 3 bright points in a gentle arc. You don't know its name. It doesn't matter. It is beautiful. And it has been burning above this city for centuries. Above this courtyard. Above this basin of water. Above all the people who have sat here as you sit now. And rested. And breathed. And looked up at the same stars. And found the same quiet. The stars will go on burning. The basin will go on receiving its stream. And the quiet will go on being available to anyone who sits here and opens themselves to it. The evening breeze finds its way into the courtyard. It moves across the surface of the basin and lifts a faint coolness from the water. You feel it on your face. On the back of your hand still resting in the water. It is one of those simple physical pleasures that needs no context. No story. No meaning. It is just cool air and cool water and the quiet sound of a fountain in a peaceful city at night. The very simplest things. The things that were always here. Before any of the complications. Before anything was added. Just this. This is enough. This has always been enough. You breathe. In. Out. In. Out. The sound of the water. The stars. The warm stone walls. The gentle breeze. All of it here. All of it with you. And you completely here with it. No distance between you and this moment. No separation. Just presence. Just being. You rise from the basin's edge. Your hand drips for a moment. You let the drops fall back into the water. They enter without disturbing much. A small ripple from each drop. expanding outward, the circles reaching the edges of the basin. And then, still. You watch until the surface is still again. And then you walk on. The next street you find is slightly wider. Running along one side of it is a small channel. Not a full canal. More of a narrow stream. Perhaps the width of your two hands placed side by side. But it carries water with great intention. The water moves quickly through this channel, rushing with more energy than the wider canal you crossed before. You can hear it clearly. A clear, hurrying sound. Like water eager to get somewhere. Like water that has been given a direction and is committed to it. The channel has been carved directly into the stone of the street itself. A groove in the limestone. Smooth and deliberate. Made with tools and patience. Made with knowledge of how water moves. The water finds the groove and follows it perfectly. It has been doing this for so long that the channel walls are polished to a shine. The water itself has polished them. Over years. Over decades. The constant flowing has made the stone as smooth as marble. Smoother. The smoothness of very long patience. The lamplight slides along the moving water in this channel like a ribbon of light. Continuously unspooling. A long, thin, shifting ribbon. Orange gold. Beautiful. You could follow it. Watch it. For a very long time. At the end of the street, the channel meets another channel. The two streams of water converge. They meet at a small, carved confluence point. A slight widening in the stone where the waters gather before joining. And where they join, there is a brief turbulence. A soft churning. A small moment of energy as the two flows meet each other. Recognize each other. And decide to become one. A small celebration of waters meeting. And then they flow on together. Faster now. Carrying the force of both. The combined water disappears around a corner. Going somewhere. On its way through the city. Carrying out its ancient, quiet purpose. You follow the street to where it meets a wider avenue. This avenue is one of the main arteries of the city. Even at this hour you can see its length and its quiet grandeur. Wide stone paving. Lamp niches along the walls every few steps. The flames all burning at the same height in the still air. A long line of amber flames. Reaching into the distance. Guiding the way. And running alongside the avenue on both sides. Canals. Wide ones. Moving with authority. Their sound is deep and continuous and fills the avenue with a presence that is almost physical. You can feel it in your chest. A low, pleasant vibration. Like the resonance of a large bell after it has been struck. Still ringing. Always ringing. A sound that has been sounding here since the first canal was dug. Since the first water was invited into the city. Since the first night the people of Shushtar lay down to sleep with the sound of the canal in their ears. And found that it helped them sleep. That it carried them. That it was the perfect companion for rest. You walk along the avenue slowly. There is no one else moving. Just you. And the water on either side. And the lamps. And the stars above. The avenue is lined with low walls, and beyond the walls on the left side you can see the tops of palm trees. Their fronds are dark against the sky. Like dark feathers against the deep indigo. They sway with a slow, patient motion. Not because the wind is strong. The wind is barely present. Just enough. Just enough to move the palm fronds slowly. To make their long, elegant shapes shift against the sky. The sound of that shifting is the softest of sounds. A dry, delicate whisper. Like distant words spoken very quietly. like the city confiding something gentle into the ear of the night. You stop midway along the avenue, and you simply stand there. And you listen. The canals on either side of you, both of them, running in opposite directions perhaps, or in the same direction. It doesn't matter. They run. They speak. The palms beyond the wall. Their whispered conversation with the breeze. The occasional drip of water somewhere above you where a channel runs along the top of a wall and drops a small, regular drip down to the pavement below. 1 drop. 2 drops. 3. Patient. Evenly spaced. Like a slow clock measuring out the night. The faint sound of the river, far behind you now, but still audible. Still present. Still the great slow heartbeat beneath everything else. The foundation tone beneath all the other voices. This city is alive. Not with the frantic life of crowds and commerce. Not with the urgency of daylight hours. At this hour it breathes at its deepest. With the deep, steady life of water. Water that has been flowing here for centuries. Water that was brought here by human hands and human minds. Water that courses through this city the way blood courses through a body. Giving it life. Giving it purpose. Giving it this profound, unending sense of peace. The peace of something designed with care. The peace of something that works. The peace of water finding the level it was always trying to find. You breathe in deeply. The air here by the canal is cooler. Fresher. There is a faint mineral quality to it. The smell of river water and wet stone. The smell of limestone that has been in contact with water for so long that they have become inseparable. Clean and ancient. It fills your lungs completely. And when you breathe out, something more releases. Something you didn't know you were holding. Some last remnant of the day's tension. The last bit of something that needed to go. It goes now. With that breath. Released. Gone. The canal receives it without comment. Carries it away. A fish. Just a flash. Silver in the lamplight. Breaking the surface of the canal for an instant. A perfect arc. There. And then gone. The water closes perfectly over the place where it was. As if nothing happened. As if everything happened. Both are true. You smile. The avenue curves ahead. You follow it. And as you round the curve, the sound of water changes. It deepens. It broadens. It becomes layered with something new. A lower register. A different kind of rushing. Something with more power in it. Something that exists at a lower frequency. You can feel it now. Not just hear it. A vibration in the ground beneath your feet. Very slight. But present. As if the stone itself is resonating. As if the earth beneath the stone is listening to the water and answering back. And then you see them. In the near distance. Beyond a low stone wall. In the flickering orange glow of torches placed at intervals along the top of the wall. The great waterfall steps of Shushtar's hydraulic system. You are not close enough yet to see them clearly. But you can hear them. And the sound they make fills the air. Not violently. Not thunderously. But grandly. With the grand voice of water that has been falling here for a very long time. A layered, continuous roar that underneath its power has perfect gentleness. Like something that is very strong but has no interest in using that strength against you. That uses its strength only for its own natural purpose. For falling. For returning. For being what it is. You stand and listen. And your heart slows. And your breathing deepens. and you lean against the cool stone wall and simply receive this sound. This ancient sound. This sound of water that has been falling here since before you were born. Before your grandparents were born. Before anyone you have ever known was born. This sound. Always here. Always this same patient, powerful, peaceful voice. Coming from the place where the river meets the weirs. Where the water that was calm becomes water that falls. Where the horizontal becomes vertical. Where the moving becomes music. You will visit those waterfalls tomorrow. But not yet. Not tonight. Tonight you are only arriving. Tonight you are learning the city by feel. By sound. By the quality of the air and the warmth of the stone and the weight of the starlit sky above. Tonight is for arriving. For being welcomed. For settling in. You push yourself gently away from the wall. And you continue walking. Back through the quiet streets. Past the small canal bridge. Past the courtyard with its gentle fountain. Through streets where lamplight pools on smooth stone. Where palm fronds sway above low walls. Where somewhere a door opens briefly and you hear the sound of water being poured and then the door closes again and silence returns. You find yourself at the edge of a garden. A Persian garden. The gate is slightly open. And through the gap you can see it. Even in the lamplight and starlight you can see its design. Divided by low pathways into sections. In each section, growing plants. Some tall and feathery. Some low and broad-leafed. Some flowering. Even in the night their shapes are distinct. Each plant with its own particular way of being in the darkness. And running through the garden along its central pathway. A channel of water. Narrow. Precise. Moving with a measured speed that is slower than the street channels. This is garden water. Meant for nourishing. Meant for slowness. Meant to linger. You open the garden gate a little further. It swings without sound on smooth hinges. Well maintained. Well used. You walk in. And the garden air is different from the street air. Richer. More layered. You can smell the dampness of the soil. The garden earth that has been watered today and holds that water still. A dark, rich smell. The smell of things growing. Of roots drinking. Of life sustained. You can smell something floral. Sweet without being heavy. A warmth in the sweetness. Like the smell of warmth itself. You can smell herbs. Something sharp and clean. Like mint. Or something related to mint. Something that clears the head even through the nose. Even in a single breath. You walk along the central path beside the water channel. On either side of you, plants grow in the darkness. You can barely see them. But you can smell them. And you can feel them. The garden has a different temperature than the street. Slightly cooler. Slightly more moist. The plants releasing their breath into the air. The soil releasing its moisture into the night. The garden breathing. As all gardens breathe. As all growing things breathe. You hear the night insects. A cricket begins somewhere to your left. A single, steady note. On. Off. On. Off. Completely regular. Like a slow clock. Like a patient teacher marking time. And then another cricket. To your right. A slightly different pitch. The two of them. Together. Creating a rhythm that is not quite synchronized. A gentle dissonance. A conversation between two small voices in the dark. At the far end of the garden path there is a low stone bench. It sits beside a place where the water channel widens slightly into a shallow pool. The pool catches the starlight on its surface. The starlight that falls on the water is still. Reflected stars. Exact copies of the stars above. Or nearly exact. Slightly wavered. Slightly softened. The way reflections always soften what they reflect. Take away the sharpness. Keep the beauty. You look up. You look down. Stars above. Stars below. And you in the middle of them. Between the stars and their reflections. Between the real and the reflected. Between the night and its image. In the most peaceful possible space. You sit on the bench. The stone is cool and smooth. You rest your hands on your knees. And you look at the reflected stars in the pool. They tremble very slightly when the water moves. Which it does. Almost imperceptibly. The faintest current moves through this pool too. The water is always moving. Even when it appears still. It is always going somewhere. Always on its way. Always traveling. Always flowing. You breathe. The cricket continues its steady calling. Both crickets. The water in the pool trembles its stars. Somewhere above the garden wall a palm tree sways. The sound of its fronds is the softest of whispers. Like something very gentle telling you something very gentle. Something that doesn't need to be understood. Only felt. You feel yourself growing heavy. Not the heaviness of fatigue exactly. The heaviness of deep rest. The way a body feels when it has finally let go of all the effort it has been making all day. When it has finally agreed to simply be still. And let the world go on without it for a while. When it has decided that what it needs most is exactly this. Exactly what it has right now. A bench. A garden. A pool of reflected stars. The sound of water. The sound of crickets. The smell of damp earth and growing things. The cool night air. The deep dark sky. All of it here. All of it given. All of it enough. Your breathing has slowed. You may not have noticed. But it has. It has found the rhythm of the water in the pool. Of the crickets calling. Of the swaying of the palm above. Everything here breathes together. Everything here moves at the same pace. And you have joined it. Without effort. Without intention. Simply by being here. Simply by sitting still. The city has done the rest. The water has done the rest. You sit for a long time on the bench in the garden. The stars will overhead so slowly you cannot perceive their movement. But they are moving. The whole sky is moving. In its own vast, patient rotation. Everything moving. And everything at rest. At the same time. Moving through rest. Resting within movement. The way the river moves and is always the river. The way the water flows and is always water. The way you breathe and are always you. Changing. Continuous. Eventually you rise. You walk back along the garden path. Through the gate. Back into the quiet street. And you begin to find your way to a place to rest. The city offers resting places. You find one down a side street. A wide, low building with a covered portico along its front. The portico is open to the air on three sides. Supported by thick limestone columns. Smooth and pale in the lamplight. And beneath this portico, spread on low stone platforms, are soft mats covered with woven textiles. The textiles are wool and cotton. Woven in warm colors. Deep reds and soft oranges and the pale color of undyed cotton. Geometric patterns along the borders. The work of skilled hands. And pillows of cotton and wool. Plump and generous. A place for travelers. A resting place provided by the city for those who are passing through. For those who need shelter. For those who need, simply, a place to lay their head. You move to one of these mats. You remove your sandals. You set them beside you. And you lie down. The mat beneath you is firm but soft enough. The pillow under your head is just the right height. Just the right firmness. You can feel your neck releasing as your head settles into it. The muscles along your spine releasing as your back meets the mat. Your legs lying still. Your arms at your sides. Everything heavy. Everything placed. Everything here. The pillow under your head carries the scent of something dried and clean. Perhaps lavender. Perhaps something else. Something pleasant. Something ancient. Something that has been dried and preserved with care and placed here for exactly this. For exactly this moment. For someone who needs to rest. For you. Above you, the portico's ceiling is low. The wooden beams across it are dark with age. Smooth and dark. The wood of many seasons. Beyond the edge of the portico you can see the street. The lamp in the niche across the way burns steadily. A small flame. Reliable. Constant. It has been burning since evening. It will burn until morning. Just doing its small, consistent work. Giving light. Being what it is. And beneath the sound of the city. Beneath the palm fronds. Beneath the cricket. Beneath the occasional gentle wind. Beneath everything. Always. Everywhere. The water. The river. Moving. Moving. As it has always moved. And will always move. Long after all the lamps have been extinguished for the night. Long after all the people have found their rest. Long after you have fallen into your own deepest sleep. The water will still be moving. Carrying its long voice through the dark. Speaking to the stone. Speaking to the roots of the palms. Speaking to the ears of anyone who is listening. You close your eyes. And you breathe. And the sound of water comes with you. Into the space behind your closed eyelids. Into the space where thoughts are dissolving. One by one. Gently. Like bubbles on the surface of a stream. Each thought forming briefly. And then releasing. Gone. Into the gentle darkness where sleep waits. Quietly. Patiently. With great kindness. Exactly as it has always waited for you. The water flows. The stars move. The city breathes. And you rest. Completely. Entirely. At peace. The lamp across the way burns. The palm fronds whisper. The cricket counts its slow measure. And the water carries all of it. Carries all of you. Down. Into rest. Into the deep. Into the beautiful, simple dark. Sleep. Sleep now. The water is here. The water will stay. And you can go. Into rest. Into the deep. Into the long, still dark. Sleep. Chapter 2. The Living Watermills. You are still in Shushtar. You know this before you open your eyes. You know it from the sound. The water. Always the water. Moving somewhere just beyond the edge of your hearing. Or perhaps within it. You cannot tell where it ends and your own breathing begins. You lie for a moment without moving. There is nothing urgent here. No reason to rise quickly. No urgency in the city's sound this morning. Or rather this, whenever this is. Time moves differently in Shushtar. More like water than like clocks. Not divided into sharp segments. But flowing. Continuous. One moment becoming the next without break. Without border. Without the sharpness of time that cuts. Here time flows. Here time carries you. You breathe in the portico air. It is cooler now than when you first lay down. The deep cool of late night. The hour between dark and dawn, when the air has given up all the day's warmth. When everything has settled to its lowest, quietest temperature. The coolest, stillest, most silent hour. And yet never silent. Because the water is always speaking. Beneath all silence, beneath all stillness, beneath the very deepest quiet of this deepest hour. The water. You rise slowly. You sit up and look out from beneath the portico. The street is quiet. The lamp across the way has burned low but still glows. A smaller flame than before. But steady. Still doing its work. Still giving what it has left to give. The sky beyond the building tops has shifted from deep indigo to something richer. More complex. The darkness has a warmth in it now that was not there before. As if the night is beginning to dream of morning. Becoming aware of what comes next. But morning has not come yet. You have woken in that quiet hour that belongs to no one. The hour between night and dawn. When the stars are still bright but have softened. When the air is at its most still and coolest. When the city holds its breath. When even the water seems to flow a little more quietly. As if it too is resting in this deepest hour. Gathering itself for the day to come. You put on your sandals. And you step out into the street. And you follow the sound. Because the sound of water in Shushtar is always the best guide. It leads you somewhere. It has been leading people somewhere in this city for as long as this city has existed. You simply follow. You do not need to know where you are going. The sound knows. The streets at this hour are entirely empty. Even the cats are resting somewhere. Your footsteps on the stone are the only human sound in the entire city. But there is nothing lonely about this emptiness. It is the emptiness of a hell breath. Of a moment of complete peace before the day begins. Of a world resting so deeply that all its surfaces have become as smooth and still as the surface of the pool in the garden. And the water is always with you. Running alongside. Crossing beneath your feet at every bridge and channel. Appearing in streams and in the soft sound of fountains in courtyards you pass. You follow the sound that is deepest. The sound with the most substance. The sound that you feel as much as hear. And it leads you west. Through streets that grow wider. Past walls that grow taller. Along a road that descends gradually toward the place where the river meets the city's hydraulic heart. The road descends so gently that you barely notice the descent. Only that the sound grows. Only that the air grows cooler and more moist. Only that the smell of river water and stone deepens with every step. And then you smell it. Before you see anything. Before the sound changes noticeably. You smell it. A deepening of the river smell. More moisture in the air. More mineral. More ancient. The smell of water that has been moving through limestone for a very long time. Carving its own stone corridors. Wearing its own smooth channels. Finding its own level with perfect patience. The smell of water doing what water has always done. Patiently. Inevitably. Without ever needing to hurry. Without ever needing to be anything other than exactly what it is. The road turns. And you find yourself at the top of a broad stone stairway. The stairway descends before you. Wide and shallow-stepped. Each step low and long. Made for easy, unhurried descent. Made for someone carrying something. Or simply for someone who wants to go down without rushing. You begin to walk down. One step at a time. Each step bringing the sound closer. Each step bringing the smell deeper into you. each step descending into the sound the way you descend into water. Slowly, gradually, surrounded by it more with every step. The sound grows with each step. It is not one sound anymore. It is a chorus. Multiple streams. Multiple falls. Multiple channels all operating simultaneously. Each one contributing its voice to the whole. And the whole is profound. A sound that surrounds you completely. That exists at every frequency. From the highest musical splashing of water against stone to the lowest, deepest vibration you feel more in your chest than hear with your ears. A sound that is both music and something beyond music. Something more fundamental, more ancient, more necessary. You reach the bottom of the stairway, and you step out onto a wide stone terrace. And there, finally, you see the living heart of Shushtar. Before you, the river has been shaped by human genius. Not tamed, not conquered. Shaped, guided, worked with rather than against. By people who understood water the way a poet understands language. Intimately. Completely. With deep respect for what it wants to do and the careful knowledge of how to guide it without breaking its spirit. The river arrives from the north. From the wide, dark waters you saw from the bridge on your way in. But here it does not simply pass through. Here it is divided. Redirected. Given new courses. New purposes. New voices. The river that was one thing becomes many things. Without ceasing to be itself. Great stone weirs cross the river at intervals. Low walls of fitted limestone that extend from bank to bank. They do not stop the water. Nothing stops the water. But they slow it. They guide it. They direct it into channels that lead it where it needs to go. And where it falls over the weirs. It makes those sounds you heard from above. You walk to the edge of the terrace and look. The water falls over the nearest weir in a wide, shallow curtain. Perhaps the height of a tall man. In the darkness before dawn it catches what light there is. From the stars. From the oil torches that burn on iron stands along the terrace. And it becomes something luminous. A translucent wall of moving water. Silver green. Shimmering. Constant. Never the same from one moment to the next. And yet always the same. Always falling. Always this same curtain of light and water and sound. The sound it makes fills the entire space. A deep, continuous rushing that is somehow not harsh. That is somehow, despite its volume, deeply soothing. You stand before it and let the sound wash over you. Let it move through you. And everything in you that might still have been tense releases. Like water finding its level. Everything settles. Down. Into stillness. Into rest. Even as the sound continues. Even as the water falls and falls and falls. Even as the world is full of sound. You are full of quiet. A fine mist rises from where the water meets the pool below. You can feel it on your face. Cool. Delicate. Like the lightest possible rain. Not enough to wet you. Just enough to remind your skin that water is nearby. That it is alive. That it is moving. The mist carries the cold of the deep water with it. The cold of water that has come from far away. From mountains in the distance. From snowmelt and rain and a long journey of water through the land. All of that cold. All of that distance. Reaching you here as a gentle kiss of mist on your face. You breathe in the mist. And the air it carries is extraordinary. Charged with something. Clean in a way that air rarely is. As if the falling water has distilled it. has removed everything from it except its essential freshness. Its pure, cool, mineral aliveness. You breathe in, and it fills you completely. All the way down, all the way in. And when you breathe out something that is not quite what you breathed in. Something lighter. Something freer. The air has done something to you. The mist has done something to you. The water has done something to you. As water always does. As water has always done to everyone who has stood before it and breathed. You stand there for a long time. Just breathing. Just listening. The mist on your face. The roar of the weir before you. The stars still burning above. The torch flames on either side of you burning without flickering in the still air. Everything held in this moment. Everything suspended in the deep stillness of the pre-dawn hour. The most secret hour. The most peaceful. The hour when the day has not yet begun its demands. And the night has already released its tensions. Just this space between. Just this water. Just this sound. Just this breath. Eventually you turn. And you begin to explore this place. This extraordinary place. This hydraulic city within a city. To your right, a pathway leads along the river bank. You take it. The pathway is made of large, flat stones. They have been laid with care along the edge of the river, following its curve exactly. On your right, the river flows. On your left, the bank rises and becomes the base of a limestone cliff, carrying a brief curtain of water on its back, which falls as the paddle rises. Drops falling back into the channel below. One by one. Many at once. A continuous sparkling fall from each paddle as it crests. The rushing sound of the channel water striking the lowest paddles and driving the turning. All of this together makes a rhythm. A slow, complex, hypnotic rhythm. Not quite a beat. More like a breathing. A deep, wooden breathing. The breath of something made by hands but powered by something far older and far greater. Powered by the river. Powered by the slope of the land. Powered by gravity and current and the simple irresistible movement of water toward lower ground. You count 3 wheels from where you stand. 3 wheels turning in the darkness. Slowly. Each one slightly out of phase with the others. So the combined sound shifts and ebbs in a gentle, irregular way. Always present. Always active. But never monotonous. Like waves on the shore. Always the same. Always different. The same water. The same paddles. The same turning. But never the same twice. Because water is never the same twice. Even when it is always the same. You walk toward the nearest one. Its mill building sits right at the edge of the channel. A low, solid structure of limestone. Rectangular. Walls thick enough to contain the sound of the grinding. To hold the warmth of the millstone's work. With a heavy wooden door that stands partly open. The wheel turns just outside. So close to the wall that you can feel the movement of air it displaces as each paddle swings past. A gentle breath. Repeated. Over and over. The wheel breathing. Through the partly open door comes the smell of grain. The warm, sweet, faintly dusty smell of milled flour. Ancient and comfortable. The smell of sustenance. Of bread before it becomes bread. Of the beginning of the thing that feeds. And beneath that smell, the deep, mineral smell of the millstone. Stone ground against stone. The dust of it so fine it is almost a smell without particles. Almost a scent of stone itself. Of the earth itself. Ground fine. And the sound of the millstone. A deep, grinding, revolving sound that comes from within. The wheel outside turns. And inside, through the mechanism of gears and shafts carved from hardwood, the millstone turns with it. Continuously. The wheel never stops. And so the millstone never stops. Through the night. Through the day. The water never stops. And so the mill never stops. And so the grain becomes flour, becomes bread, becomes the substance of life, carried here by water, ground by water, given by water, water transforming everything it touches, water at the source of everything. You stand at the partly open door for a long time, looking in. A small lamp burns within on a high shelf. Its flame barely moves in the still mill air. The millstone is a great round form, pale gray in the lamplight, perfectly round, turning with a slow, deep power that makes the floor beneath you vibrate very faintly. Just a tremor, just a humming, like the voice of the stone itself speaking, in the only language stone knows how to speak, through vibration, through pressure, through the quiet, continuous announcement of its own weight, its own substance, its own enduring presence. A small cat is curled near the lamp on the shelf, sleeping, its tail tucked around its nose, entirely oblivious to the grinding of the millstone, to the turning of the wheel, to the rushing water outside, simply sleeping, as if these sounds are the best lullaby that has ever been composed. Which perhaps they are, because you too feel it, standing at this door. The combination of the deep grinding, the rhythmic turning, the rushing water, the warm, flower-scented air. Something in you wants to curl up like that cat, to find a warm shelf, to tuck yourself into a small, comfortable form, and let the mill sounds carry you into sleep. You leave the mill door and continue along the channel, past the second water wheel. This one is slightly larger than the first. Its paddles are broader, wider, catching more of the water with each revolution, and the channel that feeds it is directed at a steeper angle, giving the water more force. So this wheel turns a little faster than the first. Its tempo is different. Its voice is different. Where the first wheel had a slow, meditative turning, this one has more urgency, more energy, a quicker creak and splash, a faster rhythm beneath the same essential patience. Different in expression, the same in nature, like two people with the same purpose going about it in their own ways. You stand at the bank beside this wheel, and you look at it turning. The paddles emerge from the water on the downstream side. They rise, dripping. The water falls from each paddle in a curtain. The cliff here is not tall, perhaps twice your height, but it is ancient looking. Its face has been shaped by water over long ages, smoothed, hollowed in places, with streaks of darker stone running through the pale limestone like veins, like the veins in the hand, like the channels in the city. Everything following the same logic. Water finding its path. Through stone. Through city. Through the night. Carved into the base of this cliff. At regular intervals along the pathway are openings. Tunnels. Not large. Perhaps wide enough for two people to walk side by side. Low enough that you would need to stoop to enter. And from inside these tunnels, water flows. Each one carries a different stream, some with more force, some with more gentleness, but all of them flowing, all of them contributing to the great conversation of water that fills this place. Each tunnel carrying water that has come from somewhere within the cliff, from channels carved through the stone long ago, by hands that are gone now, but whose work remains, flowing, still carrying water, still doing exactly what they were made to do, hundreds of years later. Still here, still flowing. You stop at the mouth of one of the tunnels. You look into it. It goes back into the cliff perhaps 10 paces and then curves away out of sight. The walls inside are smooth, worn smooth by the water that has been running through them for so long. The ceiling of the tunnel is low. It's stone dark with moisture. You stand at its mouth and receive the gift it is giving. A continuous stream of water, ankle deep, flowing out across the stone pathway and then over the edge of the bank into the river. The sound at the tunnel mouth is concentrated, focused. A rushing, murmuring voice that is the voice of this one channel. Different from the others. With its own character. Its own particular music. Its own way of saying what all water says. I am moving. I am going somewhere. I am alive. You crouch down beside the tunnel mouth. And you put your hand into the stream. The water is cold. Significantly colder than the river. This water has come from deep within the stone. From the tunnels inside the cliff. From the earth itself. And it carries that deep earth coolness with it. The coolness of darkness and stone. The coolness of the underground. Of water that has not seen the sun. It flows across your hand with gentle force. You can feel each slight current. Each tiny variation in the flow. The water is telling you everything about its journey through the stone. The pressure of it against your palm. The slight turbulence where it meets your fingers. The smooth flow where it passes between them. Everything. You withdraw your hand. The water drips for a moment. You watch it fall. Each drop catching the torchlight as it falls. A brief, brilliant flash. Gone. Back to the river. Back to the hole. You continue along the pathway. Past more tunnel openings. Past places where the cliff face has been carved into steps that descend to the water's edge. Where in daylight the people of the city come to draw water. To do their washing. To sit in the coolness near the river. Right now these steps are empty. The stone is pale and wet. The water level has been here recently. And will be here again. The steps wait. Patient as stone. Patient as water. Patient as everything in this place that knows how to wait. And then the pathway opens. You emerge from between the cliff and the river. And before you is the watermill district. It is extraordinary. Even in this pre-dawn darkness. Even without the full light to illuminate it. You can see the shapes. The great round shapes turning slowly. 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 Against the sky. Water wheels. Wooden and enormous. Their paddles reaching out to catch the current of the channels that feed them. And they turn. With a slow, patient, irresistible turning. One rotation at a time. Unhurried. Inevitable. Continuous. As they have been turning for as long as this city has existed. Through every night. Through every season. Through every hour of every year. Turning. Always turning. Because the water never stops. And as long as the water flows, the wheels will turn. And as long as the wheels turn, the stones inside will grind. And as long as the stones grind, there will be flour. And as long as there is flour, there will be bread. And as long as there is bread, this city will live. All of it. All of this life. Because of water. The sound they make is one of the most wonderful sounds you have heard tonight. The sound of wood moving through water. The deep creak of the wheel's axle turning in its stone bearings. A low, rhythmic groan of wood under gentle, constant pressure. the splash and drip of water falling from the paddles as they rise, each paddle emerging from the water, catching the torch flame in tiny points of reflected light. Then the paddle rises further, goes over the top, descends on the other side, into the water again, the cycle repeating. The water that clings to the paddle for a moment before falling. Each drop is a brief passenger, carried up, released, returned. A tiny cycle within the great cycle. Water carried briefly somewhere it wouldn't go on its own, and then returned to where it was always going. Down, back to the river, back to the hole. You breathe. In, out. The wheel turns. Drip by drip. Creak by creak. Splash by splash. And with each turning, some small thing in you turns too. Releasing. Settling. Finding its own slow rhythm. Its own patient rotation. Beyond the second mill there is a wider terrace. Here the channels spread out, several of them running parallel. Between them, narrow stone walkways. You can stand on these walkways and reach out to either side and touch the water in both channels at once. And if you stand there very still, the sound of both channels surrounds you completely. You are inside it, part of it, held within it. At the far end of this terrace, where the channels converge and fall together back toward the main river, a waterfall, or rather, a series of waterfalls, staggered, descending in steps, each step a small fall, each fall landing in a brief pool, each pool leading to the next fall, and so the water descends, step by step, level by level, in a staircase of falling water that stretches perhaps 20 paces from top to bottom. Like the water is taking its time. Like it is enjoying each level before moving to the next. Like it knows it will get to the bottom eventually. And so there is no need to rush. You walk to the end of the terrace and look down at these falls. In the torchlight they are beautiful beyond what you expected. Each step catches the light differently. The topmost falls are in partial shadow. Their sound is deeper, more muffled, more mysterious. The middle ones catch the torch flame and become amber and gold. They shimmer. They move like liquid fire. Something that is both water and light at once. Something that has no name exactly. The lowest pool closest to you shimmers with reflected starlight from above. Every level has its own light, its own texture, its own sound, and together they make something that stops you where you stand, something that holds you there, something that makes you simply look, for as long as you can, for as long as the looking feels like the most important thing. You sit down on the stone edge of the terrace. Your legs dangle above the first of the falls. The mist from the water rises and reaches you here. You feel it on your shins, on your arms, fine and cool and constant. The mist is always there, always rising, always reaching, always touching everything near it with the lightest possible touch. The touch of water that has become almost air, that exists at the edge between the two, that belongs to both. And you simply sit, and watch, and listen. The water falls, level by level. The torches burn. The wheels turn behind you. The millstone grinds. The cat sleeps. The stars wheel above. And the water falls. Always the water falls. Time passes. How much time? You cannot say. Time is not your concern here. Time is the water's concern. And the water measures it differently. Not in minutes or hours. In the slow accretion of moments that becomes something else entirely. Something beyond counting, beyond dividing. The water measures time in the smoothness of the stone at the tunnel mouth, in the depth of the channel worn in the limestone street, in the height of the weir and the age of the wheel's wood. Time measured in patient work, in the slow, continuous work of water on stone, in the slow, continuous work of stone on water, each shaping the other, each becoming more fully itself through the contact with the other. You lean back on your hands. The stone is cool beneath your palms. You look up at the sky. The stars are still there, still burning, still keeping their ancient watch. And among them now, just the very faintest suggestion of something changing. Not yet light, not yet dawn, but the possibility of it. The sky's quiet announcement that something is coming, that it is always coming, and that it will be beautiful. But that is for later. For now, the darkness holds. The water falls. The mills turn. And you rest here, at the edge of the terrace, above the staircase of falls. Safe, calm, carried, held by the sound of water falling. As you have always been held by water. As everything that lives has always been held by water. After a while you rise, and you begin to walk further into the mill district, further along the channels. There is more to see here, more to hear, more of this extraordinary system to encounter. The channels here were built by understanding, by people who spent their lives learning how water moves, how it can be coaxed, guided, given purpose without losing its nature. The channels are not just cut at random. They follow the land's natural slope. They use the river's own desire to descend. They turn that desire into work, into flower, into clean water carried to fountains across the city, into gardens kept green through the dry season, into the slow, essential turning of wheels. Every channel a gift. Every gate in a channel a decision made long ago by someone who understood water. And their decision still working, still holding, still guiding the water where it needs to go. You find a place where two channels run side by side, close enough that you can touch both of them at once if you reach your arms out to either side. And between them, a narrow path. You walk along this path, the water rushing on either side of you. The sound surrounds you completely. Not from one direction. From all directions. You are inside the sound. Part of it. Moving through it. It is not overwhelming. It is exactly the opposite. Being surrounded by water sound like this is the most enveloping thing. The most complete. The most held. That is the word. Held. You feel held by this sound the way you feel held by a warm blanket. Enclosed. Protected. Contained. Safe. Nothing can reach you here. Nothing can disturb you. You are inside the sound of water. And water is the oldest safety there is. The first safety. The safety that everything began with. You walk the narrow path between the channels to its end, where it opens onto a wider space. A courtyard of sorts, open to the sky, with stone benches along its walls. And in its center, a pool. Not a working channel this time. Not a mill race. A true rest pool. Wide and still. Where water arrives from somewhere underground and simply rests before being redirected into the channels that need it. The pool breathes. The surface barely moves. There is just the faintest circulation. Just enough to keep the water alive. To keep it flowing. Because water that stops flowing loses something. Becomes something else. Something less than water. but water that moves only barely. That moves with the minimum of effort. That is the most peaceful thing. Almost still. Almost resting. But still alive. Still flowing. Still itself. The surface of this pool reflects the sky above. That pre-dawn sky. And what you see reflected in the water is perhaps the most beautiful thing in this beautiful place. The deep indigo of the sky. The stars, smaller in the reflection, but still there. Still burning. Still multiplied. And at the horizon of the reflected sky, the very first suggestion of lighter blue. Dawn, reflected in still water. Before it has even arrived in the sky above. The pool knows what is coming before the sky has shown it. The water holds the future as lightly as it holds the present. As lightly as it holds the reflection of the stars. You sit on one of the stone benches. You rest your back against the warm stone wall. And you watch the pool. And the sky in the pool. And the approaching dawn that exists in the water before it exists in the air. The water knows. Water always knows. It is the most patient, most observant thing in the world. And it keeps its counsel quietly, letting you come to understanding on your own. In your own time. At your own pace. With great gentleness. With no insistence. With no demand. Only the constant, quiet offering of itself. Of its surface. Of its reflection. Of its sound. Take what you need. This is the water saying. Take what you need. I am here. I am not going anywhere. I have always been here. And you have always known where to find me. You breathe. Slowly. The bench is warm against your back. The pool before you is still. The reflected dawn grows almost imperceptibly brighter. The water carries the light. It has been carrying light this way since the beginning. Since the first light fell on the first still water and was held there. Reflected back. Returned to the sky. The sky and the water speaking to each other through light. An ancient conversation. Going on all around you. Going on in every drop. In every pool. In every river. In every ocean. All the water of the world reflecting all the light of the world. Back and forth. Forever. You close your eyes. The sound of the channels is with you. The slow turning of the wheels. The gentle grinding of the millstones. The breath of the pool. These sounds are not separate things. They are one continuous voice. The voice of Shushtar. Speaking in the only language it has ever needed. Water. Stone. Time. The three things that built this place. The three things that sustain it. The three things that will always be here. Long after everything else has changed. Water. Stone. Time. Your body is heavy. Perfectly heavy. Every part of it in contact with the bench. Your back against the warm stone wall. Your legs resting. Your arms at your sides. All of it settled. All of it placed. All of it at rest. The kind of rest that repairs. That restores. That returns you to yourself. That gives back what the day took. And gives you something extra. Something that wasn't there before. The particular peace that comes from having been near water. From having listened to water. From having breathed water air. From having been held by the sound of the river and the mills and the channels and the falls. This peace. This specific, water-given peace. Settling into you now. Going deep. Going all the way down. A bird calls somewhere above you. The first bird. A single, clear, brief call. Then silence. Then the water again. Always the water again. The constant. the continuous, the foundation beneath all other sounds. And you drift. You don't fall asleep. You drift. The way a leaf drifts on slow water. With no effort. With no resistance. Just allowing the current to carry you. Wherever it goes. The way the water always goes. Down. Into rest. Into quiet. Into the deepest possible stillness. Which is not absence. Which is not nothing. Which is the fullest possible presence. The presence of something completely at rest. Completely here. Completely held. You are in Shushtar. You are beside the mills. The water is all around you. The pool reflects the approaching dawn. And everything, is perfectly, profoundly, completely at peace, at rest. Here. Now. Always. Chapter 3. Everyday life along the river. Morning comes to Shushtar the way water comes to a dry riverbed. Slowly at first. A thin thread. A suggestion. And then, gradually, inevitably, it fills everything. You are aware of it before you are fully awake. Before you open your eyes. The quality of the darkness has changed. It is no longer absolute. There is a warmth behind your closed eyelids. A reddish warmth. The particular warmth of early sun touching skin. And the sounds. The sounds have changed too. Not the water. The water never changes. The water is the constant node around which everything else is arranged. But around the water now. New sounds. The sound of the city waking. Not urgently. Not all at once. But gradually. Naturally. The way any living thing wakes. First one thing. Then another. Then another. Building slowly to fullness. Birds. Many birds now. Not just the single early call you heard before. A whole chorus. From somewhere in the date palms beyond the mill courtyard. High, clear notes. Overlapping. Interweaving. A morning conversation among birds that has been happening in those same palm trees for generations. Birds that have lived in the palms of this city for so long that the trees and the birds have come to belong to each other. The palms giving shelter. The birds giving song. A simple agreement between living things. As old as both of them. The smell of the morning air. Different from the night air. Warmer. The coolness is still present but retreating now before the approaching warmth of the sun. The smell of warm stone that has just begun its long day of absorbing heat. Of the river. Always the river. And something else now. Something cooking somewhere. Something being heated over a fire. Something with spice and grain. The smell of morning preparation. Of a city feeding itself. Of hands working early to have bread ready when the day demands it. You open your eyes. The sky above the mill courtyard is pale gold and blue. The stars are gone. All of them. The sky has put them away for the day. Saved them for tonight. And in their place. Light. Clean, golden, morning light that lies across the tops of the walls in long, horizontal lines. Reaching into the courtyard from the east. Touching the uppermost fronds of the palms first. Lighting them from within. Making them glow. Green gold. Alive. The pool before you. The still pool where you rested. It is different now. In the daylight, the water is a different color. Not dark. Not the deep, mysterious color of reflected night sky. Now it is pale green. The color of water over limestone. Ancient and clean. Beautiful in a completely different way than it was beautiful in the darkness. Beautiful with clarity now. With transparency. with the honesty of daylight. You can see to the bottom of the pool clearly. The stone bottom is pale, almost white, and across it, in the places where the light enters at an angle, the shadows of the small ripples on the surface play, moving, dancing, a constant, gentle animation. The light writes on the bottom of the pool, in the language of water and sun, old as both of them, changing with every breath of wind, with every slight shift in the current. Always different, always beautiful. You stretch. Your back is comfortable against the warm stone. Your body feels deeply rested. The kind of rested you feel after sleep that reached all the way down, that touched every part of you and restored it. You rise, and you walk out of the mill courtyard into the city proper. And the city is waking. The first person you see is a woman. She is walking along the main channel path with a ceramic pot balanced on her shoulder. The pot is unglazed terracotta, a warm reddish brown. She walks with the ease of someone who has done this walk 1,000 times. Her steps are steady, unhurried. She reaches the place where the channel widens near a carved stone basin. She lowers the pot. She dips it into the running water. She waits while it fills. The sound of the water rushing into the pot is a brief, bright sound. Higher than the channel itself. More intimate. More contained. The sound of water being received. Being gathered. Being taken home. Then she lifts the full pot. Settles it again on her shoulder. And walks back the way she came. She passes close to you. She does not see you. You are invisible here. A traveler from somewhere beyond her world. But you see her. The quiet competence of her movement. The ease of a task performed 1,000 times. The way her body has shaped itself around this work. The tilt of her head. The balance of her walk. All of it perfectly suited to what she is doing. All of it beautiful in its efficiency. In its quiet, unremarkable skill. Further along the channel, where it passes through a wider district, you find the market. Or rather, the beginning of the market. It is very early yet. Most of the merchants are still arriving. Still setting out their goods. Still arranging their spaces. Preparing for the day's work with the careful attention of people who take pride in their presentation. But a few are ready. And a few early customers are already moving among them. The first stall you pass sells bread. The bread is still warm. You can smell it from 3 steps away. A round, flat bread. Pale gold. Baked on the hot surface of a clay oven. The baker is a broad man with flour on his hands and arms. He is arranging the rounds of bread on a cloth-covered surface. Each one placed with care. Each one still steaming slightly in the morning air. A thin plume of steam rising from each. Vanishing into the morning. The first warmth of the day. The bread's warmth. The oldest warmth there is. The smell of warm bread. Fresh flour. The slight char of the baked bottom. These smells are one of the oldest smells in human experience. Bread being baked. Bread being offered. Sustenance being prepared with skill and care and offered to whoever needs it. It makes something in you quiet and grateful. Grateful for this. For this simple, essential thing. For the flour that the mill ground. For the water that turned the mill. For the river that fed the water. For the land that holds the river. For everything in its place. Everything serving everything else. Beside the bread stall, a potter is setting out his wares. He has brought them on a wide, low cart. Each piece carefully wrapped in cloth. He unwraps them one by one with practiced hands. Bowls. Cups. Water jars. Oil lamps. each piece made by his hands, each one bearing the slight variations that make handmade things beautiful. No two exactly the same, each one unique in its small way, each one carrying within it the particular pressure of the potter's hands on that day, on that hour, in that mood, in that light, the life of the moment of making, preserved in the clay. Forever. He sets out an oil lamp. Small, round-bellied, with a long spout for the wick. It has a lion incised around its middle. A simple decoration. He holds it for a moment before setting it down. Examines it. Satisfied. He places it at the front of his display, where the morning light catches it. Shows it off. The same lamp that will burn tonight in someone's home. That will cast its warm circle of amber light on the wall. That will be with someone in the dark, giving them what the darkness needs. Warmth. Continuity. The knowledge that the flame goes on. You watch him work. This setting out. This arranging. This preparation. There is a meditative quality to it. Each action clear and deliberate. Each item given its place with care. The potter is not thinking about anything else. He is only here. Only now. Only arranging his lamps and bowls and cups. The work and the worker perfectly matched. A child passes. A small child. Perhaps 4 years old. Running with the particular urgency of small children who are always going somewhere very important. The child stops at the bread stall. Looks up at the baker with wide, serious eyes. The baker tears a small piece from the edge of a cooling loaf. Passes it down. The child takes it. Studies it. Puts it in their mouth. Chews with concentration. Then runs on. You smile. And the smile is easy. Unguarded. The way smiling is when you are truly at peace. When there is no effort in it. When it simply happens because something is exactly as it should be. And you are exactly where you should be to see it. Further into the market, the carpet weavers have their section. Several of them. Working already in the morning light. Their looms are tall and sturdy. Made of heavy wooden poles. The warp threads run vertical. Fine and parallel. Taut and precise. And across them, with quick, practiced hands, the weavers pass the weft. Tying knot after careful knot. Row by row. Building the pattern from the bottom up. Like a world being created from the ground. One small certain moment at a time. The sound of the carpet loom. The shuttle sliding across. The wooden beater packing the new row down. A rhythm. Quick and light and regular. Click. Slide. Press. Click. Slide. Press. Over and over. But not tedious. There is something beautiful about this rhythm. About work done by skilled hands that know exactly what they are doing. Hands that do not need to be told. Hands that remember. That carry within them the knowledge of 10,000 knots. Of 100,000 rows. Of carpets made and given and used and worn. Of beauty created and given away. Over and over. The carpet taking shape on the nearest loom is deep red. With a geometric border in deep blue and ivory. The central field is beginning to reveal a pattern. Octagonal medallions. Connected by a lattice of thinner lines. It is perhaps a quarter complete. But already you can see what it will be. Already it is beautiful. Already it holds the hours of the weaver's life. Every knot a moment. Every row a day. The carpet is time made visible. Made durable. Made beautiful. Made to outlast the person who made it. To lie on the floor of a room long after the weaver's hands have rested. The pattern going on. The beauty going on. The time preserved. You leave the market and walk toward the river. Toward the wider water. Because the river is the spine of the city. Everything refers to it. Everything flows from it or toward it. And this morning, in the golden early light, you want to be beside it. The path to the river takes you past the garden, larger than the one you found last night. This is a working garden. Not ornamental, though it is beautiful. Productive. The gardener is already here, kneeling at the edge of a bed of herbs, pulling something from the soil with careful hands. Around him, rows of plants in careful order. Some you recognize. Some you don't. But all of them green and growing. All of them well tended. All of them nourished by the water that runs in a channel along the garden's far edge. The channel feeds into the garden through small, carefully placed openings. Water is let in at intervals. The soil absorbs it. The plants drink it. The garden lives. Because of the river. Because of the channels. Because of the system that brings water to every place that needs it. The gardener pauses in his work. He straightens. He looks out over his garden with a quiet satisfaction. A particular look. The look of someone who has made something good. Who has participated in something's growth. Who has been responsible for something thriving. He is not proud exactly. It is quieter than pride. It is more like contentment. Like knowing your work is good. Like the simple pleasure of seeing green things growing. He doesn't see you. But you see him. And the quiet satisfaction in his posture. And the calm certainty of his hands. Beyond the garden, the land slopes down to the river. And there it is. In the morning light. The river. In daylight, the river is a different thing than the river of night. At night it was mysterious. Dark. Rich with reflected starlight. A presence you sensed more than saw. But now, in the morning sun, it is magnificent. Wide and clear and flowing with an energy that seems almost joyful. The surface catches the sun and throws it back in 1,000 shifting directions. Every ripple a tiny mirror. Every wave a brief, brilliant flash. The river sparkles. Sparkles the way things sparkle that are full of life and movement, and the simple pleasure of being in the sun. You find a flat rock at the water's edge. Large enough to sit on comfortably. Its surface is warm already from the morning sun. You sit. And you look out at the river. And you simply look. The sound here is richer than in the channels. The river is wider. More complex. There are currents beneath currents. Eddies along the banks. Places where the water moves over a shallow stone shelf and chuckles. Places where it deepens and goes dark and quiet. The river is not uniform. It is alive. Variable. Always surprising in its small variations even within its essential continuity. Always the same river. Always different. The same paradox as everything that lives. The same paradox as you. Always yourself. Always changing. A group of children appear on the bank downstream from you. 4 of them. Between perhaps 6 and 10 years old. They have come down to the river with a purpose. A small wooden boat. Barely large enough to hold 2 of them. They are discussing its positioning in the water with great seriousness. One holds it by a rope. One is explaining something at length. The other 2 are listening and occasionally disagreeing. Their voices carry in the morning air, but you can't make out the words. Just the cadence. The back and forth of their discussion. Serious. Committed. Then one of them laughs. Short and bright. And then they all laugh. And then the discussion continues. You watch them. And time passes without passing. Because this is not about time. This is about being in the moment fully. This river. This morning. These children and their small wooden boat. This is complete as it is. It needs nothing added. Nothing removed. Nothing explained. Nothing justified. Just itself. A boat appears on the river from the north. Larger than the children's. Long and low. Flat-bottomed. Suited to the river's depth and temper. A man stands at the back of it with a long pole. He is guiding the boat with small, efficient movements. The pole goes down. Meets the bottom. Pushes. The boat moves. The pole comes up. Everything smooth. Everything economical. The art of the river, practiced and refined to its simplest expression. He knows this river. He knows its shallows and its currents. He knows where it is deep and where it is shallow. He knows where to push and where to let the current do the work. The river has taught him. As it teaches everyone who is willing to learn from it. The boat is carrying something. Large bundles wrapped in cloth. Perhaps grain from upstream. Perhaps goods from a village further north. The man pulls the boat with steady competence. The children on the bank watch the boat with interest. One of them waves. The boatman raises his hand. A brief acknowledgement. And the boat moves on. Downstream. Going where it is going. Carrying what it carries. You sit on your flat, warm rock. The sun is higher now. Its warmth on your face and arms is gentle. Morning warmth. Not the midday weight. Just the gentle, pleasant warmth of a sun that is still rising. Still offering. Still generous. The water before you moves. The children resume their boat experiment. The boatman disappears around a bend. Birds cross the river in quick groups. Going from bank to bank. Brief and purposeful. You breathe. The river breathes. Everything breathes. In. Out. The world does its work. And you sit at its center. And you are held. You stay by the river for a long time. Watching. Listening. Receiving. This morning light on this ancient water. This sound that has been sounding since before any human ear was here to hear it. And will go on sounding after. When you finally rise from your rock and walk back into the city, the morning is fully established. The market is in full voice now. The streets carry people with purpose. Children move between adults. Dogs lie in patches of shade. The oil lamps in the niches are unlit. The sun has taken their role. Light given freely by the sun. The lamps resting until evening. You walk slowly through the streets. Invisible. Unhurried. Receiving everything. Here is a woman weaving. Sitting in the doorway of her house in the morning air. Her loom is small. Portable. She works on a length of cloth. Her fingers move without looking at them. Her eyes are somewhere else. Somewhere inward. Somewhere in the rhythm of the work itself. The click of the shuttle. The press of the beater. She is both here and not here. Both working and resting. The work and the rest have become the same thing. Here is an old man sitting on a low stone wall in the sun. His eyes are half closed. His hands rest on his knees. He is not sleeping. He is simply sitting. Simply being. With the ease of someone who has earned this. Who has worked many years and knows the value of sitting still. Of letting the sun do its work. Of receiving the day without having to do anything to deserve it. Just sitting. Just being here. Just this. Here is a baker carrying a tray of bread on his head. walking with the perfect balance of practice. The tray doesn't shift. The bread doesn't move. His pace is steady and even. He is singing something under his breath. So quiet you only catch the melody, not the words. The melody is old. You can tell by the way it moves. The way old melodies move. Settled into themselves. At home. Not going anywhere. Not needing to. Here is a canal crossing. And on the little bridge over it, two women talking. They lean on the railing. Comfortable. At ease. They talk with the relaxed ease of people who have known each other for many years. The words aren't important. It's the rhythm of it. The give and take. The pauses that are as comfortable as the words. Below them, the canal moves. The water doesn't care about conversations. It moves on through. Always through. Taking no position. Carrying no opinion. Just moving. Just flowing. The canal beneath the bridge the same as it always is. The women above it different from yesterday. And the same. You continue through the city. Through streets that narrow and widen. Past workshops where craftsmen work. Past a leather worker stitching something with a curved needle. His hands move with great precision. In and out. In and out. Each stitch an act of care. Past a woodcarver whose tools make small precise sounds. The tiny tick of a chisel. The soft rasp of a curved blade. Sounds that speak of attention. Of work that requires you to be completely here. To be in the wood. In the grain of it. In the moment of the carving. These are the sounds of a city in motion. Each sound deliberate. Each one the sound of a hand doing something useful. You find the date palm grove in the afternoon. Or what feels like afternoon in this timeless wandering. A grove beyond the eastern edge of the city where the palms grow dense and tall. Their trunks are rough textured. Deeply grooved. The texture of something that has grown slowly for a very long time. Their fronds far above cast a moving shade. Not darkness. Just a softening. A dappling. Light and shadow alternating as the fronds sway. A gentle alternation. Like breathing. Like the slow blink of a very large, very calm eye. Between the palms, the fallen leaves make a carpet. Dry and rustling underfoot. The air here is different. Sheltered by the trees. Held in their shade. Cooler. More still. The smell of the palms is particular. Something between sweetness and earth. Something warm and ancient. The smell of a tree that gives everything. That gives shade. That gives fruit. That gives its fronds for weaving. Its fiber for rope. Its wood for building. A tree that is entirely generosity. A farmer is here. High above on a platform of woven palm leaves. He is checking the date clusters. Moving among them with practiced assessment. His hands part the fronds. Examine what is there. He makes small sounds to himself. Noting. Considering. This cluster, not yet. This one soon. This one, ready? The language of a farmer talking to his trees. A private language. Understood by both parties. The dates hang in heavy clusters. Yellow-green. Some darkening toward amber. The richness of them. The weight of them. All of this sweetness gathered slowly over months of sun. Converted from water and light into something dense and sweet and sustaining. Water becoming sweetness. Sunlight becoming nourishment. The alchemy that only living things can perform. You rest in the shade of the largest palm. You lean your back against its rough trunk. The trunk is solid. Absolutely solid. The palm has been rooted here for years. Decades perhaps. Its roots go deep, down into the same earth that the river wets, down into the same water table that feeds the channels and the mills. The palm is part of the same system as everything else here, fed by the same water, part of the same life. The same river that turns the mills also feeds the roots of this palm. The same water that fills the city's fountains rises through this trunk and becomes the sweetness of the dates. Everything connected. Everything part of the same flow. Above you, the fronds sway. The sound they make is a dry, delicate rattling, like distant applause. Very gentle, very slow. The sun coming through them makes patterns on the ground around you. Moving patterns. The shadows of the fronds shift and return and shift again. Alive with the slight movement of the palm and the afternoon breeze. Always moving. Never the same twice. Beautiful precisely because it changes. Beautiful precisely because it is alive. You watch the shifting shadows. And the date farmer above. And the patterns of light between the palms. And everything is slow. Everything is warm. Everything is exactly as it is. Perfect in its impermanence. Beautiful in its ordinariness. This is the gift of the afternoon. Of the slow, warm, ordinary afternoon. When nothing dramatic is happening. When everything is just as it always is. And that is enough. That is more than enough. A child appears among the palms. Running. Then stopping when she sees the farmer above. She calls to him. He looks down. He says something. She calls back. A back and forth of voices in the warm air. Brief. Then the child runs on. Gone between the trees. Her footsteps fading. The grove quiet again. The palms swaying. The farmer returning to his assessment. Everything returning to what it was. As if the child was never there. As if the child was always there. The afternoon deepens. The light through the palms becomes more golden. More horizontal. The shadows grow longer. You are aware of the day moving without feeling rushed by it. Time in Shushtar is gentle. It does not demand. It only flows. Like water. Like everything in this city. Flowing toward its natural end. Toward evening. Toward the return of the lamps. Toward the return of the stars. You make your way back through the city. The light is changing. The market is beginning to wind down. Merchants packing their remaining goods. The conversations are slower now. Longer pauses. The day's energy beginning to ebb. The city like a great breath that is slowly, slowly exhaling. Coming to the end of its long exhalation. And then it will breathe in again. Tomorrow. It always breathes in again. You find yourself in a quiet residential street. One of the neighborhoods where families live. The houses here are close together. Low and solid. Built around inner courtyards. The walls that face the street give nothing away. Plain. Pale. Undecorated. But through the occasional open gate you can see the interior life. The courtyard. The garden. The private face of each house. So different from the street face. Intimate. Green. Full of water sound from the small channels that run through them. Each household with its own thread of water. Its own small voice of the river running through its private space. You pass a gate that is open. Inside, a family is gathering for the evening meal. A low table. Cushions around it. A woman bringing a covered dish. An older man already seated. 2 children. The older one helping lay the table. The younger one getting in the way in a small, enthusiastic way. The older child directing the younger with patient exasperation. The woman setting down the dish. The smell of something spiced and warm drifts through the open gate. Something that has been cooking slowly all afternoon. Something that carries the warmth of the fire and the care of the hands that made it. It is not your meal, not your family, not your courtyard, but the warmth of it reaches you where you stand. The human warmth of this moment. A family coming together at the end of a day. Food being shared. Simple. Ancient. The most ordinary miracle. You walk on. Past the house where someone is playing a stringed instrument. Very quietly. The notes drift through a high window. A gentle, wandering melody. No urgency to it. No particular place it is trying to get to. Just notes following notes. The way water follows the path before it. Naturally. Without effort. A melody played for pleasure alone. For the simple joy of sound. For the pleasure of notes, and their relationships. The evening oil lamps are beginning to be lit. As you walk, you see a young man going from niche to niche. A long, thin taper in his hand. He reaches up into each niche. The lamp takes the flame. A small, reliable thing. Each lamp taking what is offered. Beginning its work for the night. He moves on to the next. The street behind him glows. Gently. Warmly. As it has glowed every evening. As it will glow every evening. The same lamps. The same niches. The same amber light falling on the same smooth stone. And always someone to light them. Always someone to do this small, essential work. You find yourself at the river again. The great river. At a different place from this morning. Here the bank is higher. And at its base, where the river moves, the boat builders work. 3 men. Working on the hull of a large flat-bottomed river boat. The hull is upside down on supports. They are caulking the seams. Pressing a fibrous material into the gaps with tools. Their movements are practiced and thorough. Patient. The work requires patience. Cannot be rushed. The seams must be filled completely. Every gap. Every space. Nothing left that water could find. Because water will find everything. Water will always find what is not sealed. And so you seal everything. You leave nothing to chance. You do the work with complete attention. And then the boat can go on the river. And be trusted. One of the builders straightens. He looks at the hull they are working on. Walks around it slowly. Looking. Running a hand along the seam they have been working. He is a craftsman. He knows what good work feels like under the hand. He is checking. Making sure. He finds a spot he's not satisfied with. He calls to one of the others. They look. They agree. They return to work on that spot. More careful now. More thorough. Getting it right. Because this boat will go on the river. And the river requires good work. You watch the boat builders until the light begins to fail. Until the river turns from gold to silver. Until the first star appears above the far bank. 1 star. Then 2. Then the sky filling slowly from east to west with the return of night. The boat builders pack their tools. They cover the hull with a cloth. They exchange a few words. They go their separate ways. And you stand on the bank above the river. And you watch the stars return. The evening. The lamps burning in the city behind you. The river darkening before you. The stars above. The water below. And the sound. Always the sound. The water moving. Through the river. Through the channels. Through the mills. Through the city. Through your own body. Water. Everywhere water. flowing and finding its way and giving life. You breathe deeply. Once, twice, 3 times. And with each breath, the day you have lived here settles into you. The gardener and his herbs, the bread baker, the children and their boat, the carpet weavers and their shuttle, the date farmer high in his palms, the family at their evening table, the lamp lighter moving through the streets, the boat builders and their patient work. All of this, settling in you, becoming something. A memory of a place that exists in a time before yours. But that feels somehow like home. You are tired now. A good tiredness. The tiredness of a full day. Of eyes that have seen beautiful things. Of ears that have heard the water all day long. Of a body that has walked and rested and walked again. Of a mind that has been, for this whole long day, mercifully quiet. Mercifully still. Mercifully free from its usual noise. The stars multiply above you. The city settles into its evening. The river moves. The mills turn. The canals carry their water. The lamps burn. And you are almost ready to sleep. The water carries the night. And the night carries you. Down. Into the deep rest. Into the beautiful dark. Into the place where dreams are made of water. And water is made of dreams. Sleep. Chapter 4. Sunrise over the waters. The darkness is complete now. The deepest hour before dawn. When the night has gathered all its strength for one last, perfect rest. And everything is still. You are beside the river. You have found a place where the bank curves gently inward. A small, sheltered bay. The river here is slow. Almost a pool. Dark and still and breathing. You lie on your back on the warm earth of the bank. The sky above you is the deepest black. Stars beyond counting. Just stars. Just this vast, patient sky keeping its watch. You breathe. And the river breathes. And everything breathes together. Your body is heavy. Perfectly heavy. Every part of it in contact with the earth. Your legs. Your back. Your arms. Your head. All of it resting. All of it releasing the last of the day's effort. Going down. Down. Into the earth. Into rest. Into the deepest quiet you have ever known. The water. Just the water. Its voice is low and constant and beautiful. Not a loud voice. Not demanding. Just present. Just continuous. Just here. The way sleep is here when you stop resisting it. Just waiting. Patient. Ready whenever you are. Time passes the way time passes in deep rest. Without being counted. Just flowing. One moment becoming the next. The river flowing. The stars moving. The night deepening toward its own completion. And then, very slowly, the darkness begins to change. Not quickly. Nothing in Shushtar happens quickly. Everything moves at the pace of water. At the pace of stone being shaped over long time. The eastern edge of the sky begins to separate from the darkness. Not with light yet. Just with a slightly different quality of dark. A darkness that has become aware of what is coming. That has already begun to step aside. Very slowly. With great ceremony. You feel it before you see it. A change in the air. The temperature shifts. Almost imperceptibly. The night reaches its coolest point. The particular coolness of the hour just before dawn. When the last of the night's cold has settled. And the morning waits. Right at the threshold. You open your eyes. And the sky has begun. Not gold yet. Not even blue. Something between deep indigo and green. The color the sky has only for this one moment. This moment that happens every day. And is new every day. And has never been exactly this before. And will never be exactly this again. The river knows. The surface of the river changes. It picks up this first hint of coming light. The water becomes something other than dark. Not light yet. Just aware. Just beginning. A bird calls. One bird. That first, single, clear note. A declaration. Then silence. Then the river. Then another bird. And a third. And the choir assembles. Slowly. Each voice joining when it's ready. No conductor. No instruction. Just each bird knowing when it is time. The sky changes. You watch it. There is nothing more beautiful to watch than this. The sky changing. The night releasing. The day arriving. This threshold. This crossing. The indigo deepens toward the horizon. But above it, the sky has already become lighter. A pale gray blue. The color of water over stone. And at the horizon itself, a line of something warm begins. A glow beneath the visible. A warmth below the threshold of light. The mist begins. Rising from the river. From the channels. From everywhere the water is. The mist rises in thin, pale columns. Vertical. Ghost thin. Rising and dissolving. But constant. New mist forming where old mist dissolved. A continuous rising. The water breathing itself upward. Into the air. Into the changing sky. The sound of the city shifts. The mills have been turning all night. But now the sound of them is joined by the first movements of the day. The city beginning to gather itself. Not yet full. But becoming. As the sky is becoming. The horizon. You watch the horizon. And the line of warmth there strengthens. From nothing. To a suggestion. To a glow. To a color. Orange. Deep orange. Like the inner heart of a flame. Like something heated to its perfect temperature. And the river holds this color on its surface. Picks it up and carries it. The orange reaches across the water. Makes the river a different river. A golden orange river. A river made partly of fire and partly of water. The mist catches it. The columns of mist rising from the water become luminous. Orange-edged. Lit from within. They rise against the deepening blue of the upper sky. Each column a brief, beautiful thing. Rising. Dissolving. Replaced. Rising. You stand. You are standing at the edge of the river bank. The water before you. The sky above you. The mist around you. And the light coming. 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 The orange strengthens. Deepens. Pink appears above it. A pale, extraordinary pink. And above the pink, gold. True gold. The sky turning gold the way a flame turns gold when it reaches its fullness. And then, the sun. It appears at the horizon with a deliberateness that is both gradual and sudden. A sliver. A crescent. A half circle. And then it clears the horizon completely. A perfect circle of burning gold. Rising. 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 And everything changes. Everything becomes something different, while remaining completely itself. The river becomes gold. True gold. The color so rich and warm it barely seems real. But it is real. It has been real every morning for as long as the river has flowed. Gold light on moving water. The most ancient of beautiful things. The mist catches the full sun and becomes golden too. And in the golden mist the world is soft, and warm, and luminous. The city behind you, the palm trees, the limestone walls, the mill buildings, all of it golden, all of it touched by this first light, all of it saying yes. You breathe in this morning air, this golden, misted, river-scented air. This air that is different from every other kind of air on earth. This particular mixture of water and stone and warm sun and ancient palm and the deep green smell of the river. This air of Shushtar. In this morning, in this moment, your breath goes in. Warm, golden, complete, and out. And the world continues. The sun rises. The river flows. The mist rises. And somewhere in the city, the bread baker has already been at his work for hours. And the mill wheels are turning. And the channels carry their water. And the city breathes with full morning breath. You walk back along the river path. Not to leave. There is nowhere to go. Just to walk. To be moving through this golden morning. To feel the sun warming your side as you walk. To hear the city waking fully now. The sound of the watermills in the morning. You hear them before you see them. That deep, wooden turning. But in the morning, with the full light, the sound is richer. More present. As if the warmth of the sun has deepened every sound in the world. You walk past the mill district. The first millers are arriving. Checking the wheels. Checking the millstones. Making the small adjustments that keep the system running. The day's work has begun. The channels in the morning light. You walk beside one. The water is bright. The surface catches the sun and returns it in long, shifting lines. The bottom of the channel, visible through the clear water, is pale and beautiful. The light plays across it. The same game it always plays. Each day new. Each day the same. You find yourself at the place where the main channel meets the river. Where the city's water system returns its water to the source. This confluence is a wide, active place. The channel empties into the river in a broad, shallow fall. Not dramatic. Just a gentle, wide expanse of water pouring from the channel lip into the river below. And the sound is extraordinary. A rushing, roaring, shushing sound. Broad and encompassing. The whole width of the channel emptying. Returning. Giving back what was taken. The foam where the water meets the river. A wide band of white. Churning briefly. And then resolving into the river's main flow. The channel's water and the river's water becoming the same water again. As they were before. As they always are in the end. You stand at the confluence for a long time. The sound of all that falling water is complete. It fills your ears. It fills your chest. It fills the air. Just the sound of the water returning to itself. And in that fullness, in that completeness, there is a peace that goes beyond description. You find a wide, flat rock, warmed by the sun, the sound of the falling water nearby, the river before you, the city behind you, all of Shushtar. Around you. You sit. And you breathe. Your eyes close. Just to hold the sound in darkness. To feel it without seeing anything. To let it be the only thing. The water. Falling. Returning. The water. Moving. Always moving. The water. Your breathing deepens. Slows. Each breath a little longer than the last. Each exhale releasing a little more. Each inhale bringing in more of this extraordinary, water-washed air. The sound of the confluence. The broad fall of water returning to the river. the roar and rush and shush of it, filling everything, being everything, the only sound there is, the first sound, the last sound, the sound beneath all other sounds. Water, this river, ancient before anyone named it, moving through these limestone hills since before human hands shaped stone, moving, finding its level, always finding its level, patient beyond patience, present beyond presence. And the people who came here, who looked at this river and understood what water could do if you worked with it, if you respected it, if you guided it the way you would guide a great, gentle animal, with care, with knowledge, with gratitude. They built their channels, their tunnels, their weirs, their mills. They let the water into the city. They made it part of everything. They built their city around it the way you might build a life around something you love, letting it run through everything, letting it be the center, the source, the constant, and the city that came from this. Shushtar, living, breathing, watered. This city where every street has the sound of water, where every garden drinks from an ancient channel, where every mill turns because of this same river, where the bread is milled by water and the gardens are fed by water and the children play in water, and the entire life of the city flows from water, as all life does. In the end, always, water. You breathe, and the sound of the confluence breathes with you. In, out, the water falls, falls, falls. Your hands rest open on your knees, relaxed, palms upward, receiving this sound, this place, this morning, this ancient, gentle city, freely, without condition, simply flowing, simply being, simply offering itself to everything it touches. The sun on your closed eyelids, warm, red warm, that particular warmth that belongs only to this, to sitting in the sun with eyes closed, to resting in warmth, to being held by a day that is doing its work without requiring anything from you. Your thoughts, if there are thoughts, are not words. They are not plans or concerns. They move like the surface of the water in still light, present, and then gone, and then present again, and then gone. The way all thoughts go when the mind is finally, truly at rest. The birds are in full voice now. From the palms, from the trees along the bank, a richness of bird sound, high and various and continuous, woven through the water sound. Two continuities, both ancient, both permanent, both part of what makes this place what it is. Somewhere behind you, a canal murmurs. Somewhere to your left, a water wheel turns. The slow creak of wood, the splash of water, the deep, patient rhythm. Your breathing, long, deep, slow, the slowest it has been in as long as you can remember. Each breath complete, each breath full, each breath an entire small world of its own, with its beginning, its fullness, its release. In, and the water flows. Out, and the water flows. In, and the birds sing. Out, and the birds sing. In, and the sun warms. Out, and the sun warms. Everything continuous. Everything uninterrupted. Everything flowing. The sound of the water at the confluence. You've been listening to it for so long now that it has become part of you. Not a sound you are hearing. A sound you are part of. The boundary between you and the sound has dissolved. Quietly. Without drama. The way all boundaries dissolve eventually when you stop reinforcing them. When you simply let them go. When you allow yourself to be as open as water. As continuous as water. As present as water. The confluence. The place where the channel meets the river. Where the given water returns. Where the journey completes. And where the next journey begins. Because the water that returns to the river is not finished. It continues. The river carries it south. To other rivers. To the sea. To the clouds. To the mountains. To the springs. To the rivers again. The water never stops. The water never ends. The water is always on its way somewhere. And always arriving. And always returning. And always beginning. You are the water. Your breath is the river. Your rest is the pool. Your depth is the tunnel through stone. Your brightness is the surface and sun. Your flow is everything. Everything. The sound deepens. Or you deepen into it. The same thing. Slower. Each breath. Slower. The water at the confluence. Falling. White and gentle. Returning. The river receiving. The river continuing. The river not needing anything to be different from what it is. The city behind you. Living. Breathing. Watered. The city not needing you to watch it. Continuing on its own. As it has always continued. As it will always continue. The mills turning. Slower. Or you perceiving them as slower. From this deep place you are going. This deep, warm, waterlit place. Slower. The creak of the wheel. Slower. The splash of the paddles. Slower. The birds. Still singing. But softer now. Or further. Or you further from them. Going somewhere they don't follow. Somewhere soft. Somewhere still. The sun. Warm on your closed eyelids. Warm. Warm. The water. Falling. Returning. The sound of Shushtar. Ancient. Continuous. Patient. The sound of water. Just water. Moving. Always moving. And you. Resting. Deeply. Completely. The water flowing. The water. Still here. Still flowing. Still carrying you. Gently. Into the deepest rest. Into sleep. The water. Always. The whispering waters of ancient Shushtar carry you now. Deeper. And deeper still. Into the quiet. Into the beautiful, boundless rest. That has always been here, waiting. Patient as water. Patient as stone. Patient as stars. Sleep now. The water keeps. The water always keeps. The water flows. And you rest.